So I took the blower case over to the Bridgeport, set it on the table, lowered the knee all the way, and here's what I had. With my fly cutter chucked up in the spindle, everything's way too tall. This obviously was a big problem. Even with a bare tool holder sitting in the spindle, I still only had about a quarter of an inch clearance between the holder and the blower case. It's definitely time to make up a special tool so I can still fly cut this case on my machine. Because headspace was so limited, I knew that whatever I made would have to thread all the way on to one of my standard tool holders. I started out with a piece of 7/8 thick scrap aluminum plate about 9 inches in diameter. I chucked it up in the 4-jaw chuck, took it over to the lathe, bored a hole in the center of it, and threaded that center hole with the same thread count as my Bridgeport NTMB tool holders. In order to get my large fly cutter plate to sit flush with the end of the tool holder, I had to turn a recess into one side of the plate. After this, the final step was making up a steel ring that would jam tight against the shoulder of the tool holder. I didn't want to just jam the fly cutter up against the end of the threads of the tool holder. Doing this would allow it to jam in place where I might not be able to get it off easily, and it could allow the fly cutter to turn just a little bit on the tool holder, which could change the height of the fly cutter while it's in operation. Here's the finished fly cutter plate in place. As you can see, clearance is really tight, but it does fit. For my cutting tool, I had a piece of 3/8 inch carbide cutter from some surplus application left lying around. So I took that and I drilled a 3/8 hole in line with one of the existing 4 holes in the plate and locked that in place with a set screw. As I did my first couple of passes with the fly cutter, I noticed that the plate would start to ring at certain speeds. This was especially pronounced with the interrupted cut on the top of the blower case, so I had to find a way to stop that. I ended up taking a couple of strips of really heavy rubber, wrapping them around the outside diameter of the plate, and then holding them in place with a regular worm gear clamp. This is something similar to the arrangement used on automotive brake drum lathes, and it works really well to stop ringing on those, and it actually worked perfect for this application. In the end, I took about 5 thousandths off one side of the case and then about 6 thousandths off of the other. This case was actually not very flat on the ends. By the time I got it to clean up, I had already taken a pass of about 3 thousandths on one side and 4 thousandths on the other. As you can see from these images, the finish is really nice on the ends of the case. The overlaps are really clean because I trammed my machine very carefully before I started this. I finished up by running a tap through all the holes in the ends of the case and then chamfering all the holes with a chamfer tool on my drill. I took the blower case back to the bench and then bolted up the front bearing plate with the rotors already in it. I flipped the case upside down and put it inside an old bearing plate, which makes a really nice stand just to be able to work on the thing without having it tip over. The final step was taking my depth mic and spanning it between the edge of the case and the ends of the rotors in 4 places and checking end clearance. All my calculations for machining were right on the money because I got 14 thousandths clearance everywhere and about 14 and a half of clearance on one of the lobes. That's probably just because that lobe varies just a tiny bit from the others. These are good end clearances. It's the minimum clearance shown in the Detroit Diesel manual. I think that some blower builders probably put end clearance tighter than this, but again, because this is a street blower that's not making a ton of boost, I'm trying to be careful and build the thing conservative so that it lives.